Most new safety managers feel like they're not ready. They feel like they don't know enough. They feel overwhelmed because they don't have the regulations like the back of their hand. Well, let me tell you what I've discovered: the best safety managers, heck, the best leaders, they don't know everything. They're not a walking rule book. They don't have all the regulations memorized, but what they do have is they have the right way to think. They have the proper mindset. And in this episode, I want to share with you 5 cognitive patterns, 5 ways to think that will take you from feeling like you don't know what you're doing to feeling like, hey, I'm getting this. I'm really making a difference. Let's jump in. Well, hey, friend, my name is David Sawyer. I'm a safety coach. I help new safety managers go from feeling overwhelmed to OSHA-ready. And I want to help you prevent accidents and avoid OSHA at your facility. One of the best ways to do that is to go to my website, helpwithosha.com. You can access a free OSHA audit checklist. And this isn't just some PDF that you download. This is actually an online access point where you will be able to walk through a video that I have showing you exactly what you need to do to teach your team, your management team, how to prepare for an unexpected OSHA audit. We'll talk about the 3-part framework that OSHA uses during every audit, and I'll actually show you what you need to do to prepare your team. I actually have a course that goes in depth into this, and my OSHA audit course is available there too, but the checklist is free. Go to my website, Help with OSHA, download the checklist. It is incredibly helpful. It's something I wish I had when I was a new safety manager. Now, let's talk about the 5 different ways to think, the 5 cognitive patterns that will help you be a better manager. Now, this is really specific for safety managers, but the themes could be applied to any form of leadership. So let's jump in. The first thing I want to say, the very first one is, don't argue, seek to understand. Now, what I mean by that is, it is really easy if you are a safety manager and you do a safety training on wearing the right gloves for the job. Okay? So you did a PPE training, you talked about wearing the right PPE, and then you talk about specifically the type of gloves people need to wear. And then 2 weeks later, you go out in the plant and you realize this employee is not wearing the right gloves. And so if you're like me, maybe you're not like this, but if you're like me, you want to go get a big ruler and just smack them on a hand and say, hey, stop it. You have to wear the right gloves. We talked about this. You know what gloves to wear. That's not the right way to go about it. A better way to go about it is to understand why that employee isn't wearing the gloves. Now, there could be a lot of different reasons. It might be what you think. It might be, well, they're just lazy. They're just not wearing the gloves because they're lazy. But it could be something else. The gloves could be out of stock. They might be the wrong size. Maybe we didn't order the right type of glove. Maybe that employee doesn't have access to the supply closet. There's all kinds of things that could cause the employee not to be wearing the glove. So what you want to do is when you discover that somebody isn't wearing the proper PPE, and again, this could be just about anything, but when you discover somebody isn't following the rules, rather than come at them with a big ruler and smack them on the hand and give them discipline, seek to understand. Simply ask the question, hey, I notice you're not wearing your gloves. Why aren't you wearing your gloves? Ask questions. Ask questions. That is one of the best tools you have as a safety manager. Now, if you discover that that person isn't wearing gloves because they're just obstinate and they're not going to wear gloves because, they don't want to wear gloves, well, that's a different issue. And we can tackle that issue with a separate conversation. But the first conversation needs to be seeking to understand rather than arguing with the employee. Now, that's the first mindset. The second mindset, as a safety manager, you want to be looking for patterns. So one of the best things you can do is when you have an accident or an incident reporting system is to look for trends that are happening. Because so often it'll look like a one-off. And the supervisor or the manager might say, well, they just need to be more careful. And you realize, wait, this is a pattern. This is a pattern. It happens every Tuesday afternoon. We're having the same thing happen. Why does it happen Tuesday afternoon? Whatever happens with the shift change, right? So we want to be a detective. The best safety managers are detective-minded. They're looking for clues, and they're trying to get these puzzle pieces and put them together to figure out exactly what's causing the pattern. What's causing the pattern? So you want to look for patterns, not just one-offs. Now, if you have somebody and it's a one-off. They don't usually do that. This never happens. Okay, still file it away, but you want to be looking to connect the dots. You want to be looking to connect the dots. Does this happen every time it rains outside because we have that slight moisture on the hard concrete and somebody gets slips and falls? Do we have something where, sanitation isn't labeling the chemicals because every Saturday night something happens and that changes the chemical labels? Figure out what the pattern is that's causing the problem. There's usually a pattern. All right, number 3. Oh, man, this is talking to myself right here. Know what you can control. And the opposite of that is understand what you can't control. You can't control the weather. You can't control if it's icy outside. You can control if you put salt out in the parking lot. You can't control if the CEO is in a bad mood. You can control that your report is in his email on time. You can't control certain things, but you can control others. So don't worry, and it's easy to say this, trust me, I know. It's important to remember, don't worry about the things you can't control. They're out of your hands, right? Take a deep breath. Focus on the things you can control. Focus on the areas you can improve and understand, hey, that's out of my control. Out of my control. All right, number 4. I have learned this so many times having conversations, and it kind of goes back. It's a callback to what we said about seeking to understand. Silence is powerful. Silence is powerful. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are asking a question and then you shut up. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to wait for the answer. I use this as a tool when I'm providing training. When I'm doing a training class, and oftentimes I get, groups of employees that come in and they sit down and they want to sit and get. They want to just sit there and they're like, go ahead, tell me everything I need to know. And I'm like, nope, you're in the wrong training class. That's not the way this works. Because I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to try to get you engaged. I'm going to try to get your feedback. And the only way I can get your feedback is if I'm quiet. So I will ask a question and I'll be quiet. And the group will be talking, and you might have one guy, like there's 1 out of 12 guys, and that guy, he's a talker, and he's going to answer every single question. And then you ask this question. You're quiet, and you ask the question, what else? And you look at other people in the room. You don't look at that person. You look at other people in the room. What else? What else? And you let that silence just hang. If you're doing an accident investigation, you're going to ask the person to tell you what happened, and you're going to be quiet. And just let them talk. Just let them talk. Let them talk. It is so powerful to be quiet. Now, the last cognitive mindset thinking hint that I'm going to give you, the last one, is so powerful. Stay calm. Stay calm. The best safety managers, the best safety directors, the best leaders stay calm. When everything is falling down around you, stay calm. When somebody is yelling at you, take a deep breath, stay calm. One of the biggest compliments I ever got wasn't when I was a safety manager. It was when I was a safety consultant. I was a coach. I was helping an HR manager that was stressed to the gills. And it was only like my second or third day on site working with this HR manager. And she was stressed to the gills. And I remember I left her office to go into the production area to work on something. And someone came to me, one of her, I don't want to say lackeys, but it was a yes person that was, going out in the plant to get me to come back, and I had to be right there, and she was freaking out. I don't even remember what happened, but it was something that caused her stress level to go from a 10 to like a 12, right? She was already at a 10, and then she got bumped up to a 12. And I remember I said, absolutely, I'll come in there as soon as I get done with this. And it wasn't because I was being rude. It's because I was this close to finishing something, and I wanted to get that finished. And I could already kind of read the room when you're like, this person is a little dramatic. So finished what I did, came over, and she told me everything that was going on. She told me in a frantic voice, and I calmly gave her a plan to execute. And I thought this relationship probably isn't going to work, because I'm not going to get pulled into the drama. I'm going to stay calm. I'm not going to get pulled in the drama. And we had a long working relationship. I helped her with a lot of things. I was able to really put together an action plan to protect the people that were working at that company. I feel very proud of the work that we did together. And about a year later, I remember she made the comment. She goes, David, I don't know how you do it. You're always so calm. You're calm. And I thought, wow, that's one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten. And part of it was because I used some of the mindsets I just explained. I used silence, I asked questions, and I stayed calm. And I knew I didn't know everything. I mean, that's just true. It's easier to be humble when you go, I don't know everything, but I know I can find the answers I need. And that really ties a bow on this episode. As a safety manager, your mindset matters. Stay calm. Ask questions. Understand you don't know everything, so you want to seek to understand what people are thinking and what they're doing. Use silence. And just know that as a safety manager, you are a leader in the organization. People look to you for guidance. Let your actions be an example. Let them see that you have high expectations and you're going to help them get there. It makes all the difference in the world. Now, if what I've talked about today has resonated with you, I would highly encourage you, check out my brand new Safety Starting Point workshop. You can go to helpwithosha.com/safety starting point. And in there, I have a free video. It's a workshop that explains my Safety Starting Point coaching program. And you can actually apply. If you feel like you'd be a good fit, you can apply. It's a 90-day program. You go from overwhelmed to OSHA-ready in 90 days. Check it out. Safety Starting Point. Go to www.helpwithosha.com/safety starting point. I look forward to talking with you soon. Until we talk again, do everything you can to keep the people you work with safe, because no one should get hurt at work.